having sex. Oh, it's a little too hot. Let's stop for a second. Let me turn on the air conditioner. When you're f***ing, you don't mind if you get a hamstring tear. And bro, you don't mind if the house catches f***ing fire. But sex is more robotic. I want to f*** my audience and not just have sex with them. Do you understand?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pace Morby Show. I've got Bedros Keuilian with me today. He is a super badass, and he just started doing jiu-jitsu about 2 years ago. I got to ask the question, why start such a badass sport that's so challenging at the age of 49?
Yeah, good question. So first off, thank you for the opportunity, Pace. I've always been a big fan. You and I have always been kind of in contact, and it's good to be together creating content. So I started jiu-jitsu for one simple reason. It wasn't like I'm like, you know what, I'm having a midlife crisis. I know I jokingly said that off camera, but your audience may or may not know this. About 11 years ago, I started doing these 6-week challenges. The first one was running a marathon. I always kind of told myself that God's built me to lift weights and to be strong, and that's it, right? Like running is for other people. I'm not an athlete like that. And so one day I was like, you know what? I think I could run a marathon. And so I literally signed up for a marathon, the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon, hired a running coach, had never run more than like 100 yards, right? And in fact, the first week that I ran in chucks, just like those.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You chucked up, bro.
Yeah, dude, because I did. You chucked up. That's so good. Because I had no idea. I had no idea that there's actual running shoes made for this, right? Now I always wear chucks. And so I'm complaining of like knee and ankle pain to the running coach. And this is like, she was like, hey, walk, jog 1 mile the first like 4 days, right? That was it. But at the time I was 242 pounds. Now I'm 227. I was on a lot of sauce back then because I was still competing in powerlifting. So anyway, long story short, I'm complaining and she's like, dude, your shoes must be worn out. I'm like, no, they're brand new chucks. She's like, you're stupid. Go to Snail's Pace and buy yourself a pair of running shoes. And so anyway, I did. Since then, I've done all types of 6-week challenges. Salsa dancing, improv classes, rock climbing, because I'm afraid of heights. I was afraid of heights. Surfing, things that were out of my comfort zone. Guitar lessons, you name it. MMA fighting, whatever. So it was all 6-week challenges, hire a coach, and then do the thing at the end of the 6 weeks, just like the marathon. And so when I did the whole jiu-jitsu thing, I thought it'd be fun for 6 weeks, and then I'd move on to the next challenge. Most challenges are that way. Surfing stuck. Well, as it turns out, jiu-jitsu stuck. Whenever I do a 6-week challenge, I nerd out about the details because you have to time collapse, right? So you hire a coach, and you were kind of going all in on this one discipline for 3 times a week for 6 weeks, sometimes twice a day. And so I started geeking out. I'm like, well, how do most UFC fights end? And so you ask ChatGPT, and it's like, well, most fights end up on the ground, whether it's in the UFC or in a street fight. You know, unless you can like knock some guy out with one punch, you're Mike Tyson. Most fights end up on the ground, ends up in a scrabble, and then you end up on the ground. And then I was like, well, what submissions from jiu-jitsu end up getting the most taps in the UFC? And it's like all the white belt moves. The top 3 were the arm bar, the rear naked chokehold, and I think there was a guillotine. Those were the top 3. And the top 5.
These are basically just sex positions for men.
Absolute sex positions. Again. Like,
and when you say white belt, by the way, that means beginner, like the number.
Beginner level.
So the beginner level moves are what pin people the most in high level combat.
Yeah. Pin and get the submission, get the tap. And in a real world situation, you'd end up breaking an arm or putting them unconscious so that you can free yourself from whatever dilemma you got yourself into. But what's crazy about this is these are white belt moves, brand new moves. And people who get the blue and the purple and the brown and the black belts just get even better at those moves in telegraphing it, in deploying it from many different positions. I'm going to geek out about it right now, so we'd rather not go down that rabbit hole.
I'm cool. I mean, it also is a great crossover to business as well. It's like just master the basics.
Dude.
Right? So many people are trying to jump to like letter Z when they haven't even jumped on letter A.
That's it. What do you and I do? We create a product or service that adds value or solves a problem. We market it to the right avatar or audience. We make an irresistible offer, and then we convert that lead into a paying client or customer, and we treat them well and hopefully get a referral, and we get them to retain. That's it. It's a 5-step process. All business is a 5-step process. Those 5 steps happen on the mats in a time-collapsed fashion. And so I was actually telling Ed there, because he's not only my videographer, but a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and I was telling Ed the problem.
So you're saying Ed could beat your ass?
Oh, he gets me to tap all the time.
What's interesting about this is, Ed, you're like half his size.
Ed, how tall and how much do you weigh?
135.5, and he could beat your ass.
Yeah, and I'm 6 foot 227, bro.
That's so,
he manhandles me.
It's mind-boggling.
It's embarrassing to say this, and Ed, I'm going to ask you to edit all this out. No, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? It's crazy. And that is the love of jiu-jitsu. And then just if you like alchemy, right? Like, okay, you've got a site that has high conversion, going back to business. You got a site that has high conversion. And you're like, you know what? What if I can go from 3% conversion to 3.5 to 4.0? What if I can get the upsell take rate up by another 0.5%? That is jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people tell me, oh, that's kind of like golf. It's just dragon that you're chasing and you can get incrementally better. Because now if I could see Ed setting me up for a head and arm triangle, I could do my escape from that earlier on and increase my chances of escaping instead of tapping. And so it's all about these predictive movements. And that's, I think my problem-solving brain enjoys that, because in business we problem solve, but over a long period of time. On the mats, you problem solve within seconds, or the problem's got you to tap, and so you have to reset and start over. And so the better you get at jiu-jitsu, the faster you start solving problems in your personal and your professional life. And that was the crossover that I was not expecting, and I think that's why I fell in love with it.
Who was the person that told you jiu-jitsu was the right thing? Like, why did you choose that challenge over anything else?
Dude, Jocko keeps talking about it, and Jocko's spoken at a few of my events, and, you know, we've brought him here to HQ to speak to the team and stuff, so we've developed a bit of a bond, and he keeps talking about it on his podcast, and, you know, I got my son into it many years ago when he was a kid.
Andrew, right?
Yeah, Andrew, exactly. He's 19 now, so I was like, hey, son, you want to do this challenge with me together? So it was something that was already brewing because people I respect are talking about it, doing it, and it was something that I wanted to do with my son. And so it just took. But I didn't know if I was going to stick to it. I'm madly in love with it, to the point where, let's say if I come out to Scottsdale to visit you, I'm going to roll up my short shorts and my rash guard and stuff it in my suitcase. And I travel with my rash guard and shorts, my combat shorts, because I'm always going to find a jiu-jitsu academy somewhere, and then go in there and introduce myself and buy a one-day pass, or if they let me just train for free, then they let me train for free. And I'll take a class and I'll do open mats with them and get my ass handed to me, or maybe get a tap if I'm lucky. But I love it that much. It's cathartic, it's therapeutic, you're solving problems. And then you're also realizing, like, there's people, it humbles you. There's people that big, and no offense to you, Ed, because you're a savage of a man. By the way, he's 48.
Yeah.
48 years old, 5-something, 135 pounds, 140 pounds, and the dude can handle himself. And that, you really become humbled. You're like, I don't know if I want to start trouble.
What's interesting also about jiu-jitsu is, like, you could look at boxing or you could look at other martial arts and you could say that guy could rough somebody up. Mm-hmm. Like, I look at you and I'm like, I don't want to mess with you in an alleyway. But if you are a brown belt and you're so practiced, you really are not intimidated by really anybody, because if you can get close enough to them, nobody can hurt you.
Right.
Like, I can get the greatest boxer in the world is going to have a really hard time against somebody who knows jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Because once he takes them on the ground and their feet are no longer attached to Mother Earth.
Oh, they're done.
They're done.
They're cooked.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I love about you, I've been following you for a long time, is you do something that I call life stacking.
Yeah.
Okay. So life stacking. I'm going to go network with Jocko. I'm going to go to a jiu-jitsu camp in Maine. I'm going to see nature. I'm going to hang out with my son. I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu for myself. Like, you're stacking 5 or 6 things all together.
Yeah.
Who the hell is running your schedule? Like, are you in charge of that? What does your team look like that's running your schedule?
Yeah. So Ed there, his wife, who's been with me for 11 years, she's the great and powerful Joan Arca, and she runs my schedule in my entire life. And I always tell her, like, I don't want any free time in my schedule. My free time is scheduled, right? So, like, if I want to go surfing, if you know anything about, do you surf?
I have, but I don't.
Okay. Next time you're out here, I'll take you out surfing to Doheny, long, slow, molasses-like waves. Anyone can pop up on a board, and I've got like 12 boards. There's got to be one that fits you. But kind of like, so if you know anything about surfing, you can't just on a whim go, I feel like surfing today. I'm going to cancel my schedule, or impromptu.
It's like a to-do. It's like you're loading things up. You're getting ready. You're driving down.
Yeah.
You're unloading. You're getting in the water.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
And let's not forget, the Pacific Ocean is named the Pacific Ocean because when it was named, it was very calm. And so waves are sometimes very calm, sometimes very gnarly. And so you look, there's this app called Surf App, right? And so I can't just impromptu go to the beach and surf. Yet, because you want to look at the Surf App report, if it's like 4 or 5 foot waves, which are perfect for me, then I'm going to go. My life doesn't work that way. My life is structured. It's scheduled. I do everything in time blocks. And so I might say, hey, Joan, next week on Thursday, I want to go surfing in the morning. And I might show up to the beach and the waves might be so big that the only thing I'm doing is learning to not drown. Or I might show up to the beach and it's so flat like a lake, I'm just paddling and getting a good workout, but I'm not popping up and surfing. Or it might be 4 or 5 foot waves, which is the perfect size for me to catch a wave and then, ride it in. And so are there drawbacks to being perfectly structured? Yeah, because the human has to work with the Mother Nature's surf schedule. Like I can't just show up, but my schedule is that I've got to book everything into my schedule, and that's how I roll. But I also like the structure of that. I like the freedom of that.
But did you always have that? Like a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, get to a point where you get more and more structured because you have more opportunities coming at you. You're having to say no 90% of the time to things. So you really do have to limit yourself and have your calendar laid out in a way. Was there a moment in your life where you go, I really need to do this calendar thing,
Yes.
but you weren't doing it before?
A year before I hired Joan, 12 years ago, I had a massive panic attack because I had so much on my plate, no structure, no schedule. I'd sleep at 1 or 2 in the morning because the wife and I would watch a lot of different shows and binge watch and stuff. And then I still want to wake up early in the morning to get shit done. So I'm sleep deprived. And then my mentality was I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? I'm 51 now. 12 years ago, I'm in my late 30s, early 40s. And so it's a different mindset. But you add all these opportunities to your plate and you don't have any structure. I'm on a call, then I'm on a webinar, then I'm having a team meeting, then I'm on 2 more calls, and then I do another webinar. It was just a shit show. And so I had this massive panic attack, bro. Pace, it was so bad that I thought I was having a heart attack. And I remember dropping to my knees and thinking that this has got to be a heart attack because both arms were tingling. And I remember all I knew about a heart attack was that one of your arms hurt.
You go numb, yeah.
And so I'm like, this must be a big one because both arms are tingling. And my vision's gone tunnel vision. I could hear my heartbeat in my ear. I'm sweating profusely. I can't breathe right. Well, as it turns out, it was a panic attack. When I went to the doctor after I was able to somehow get out of that state, I went to the doctor. He's like, dude, the EKG says you're fine. However, the stressful life that you're living is going to catch up to you in a form of a heart attack. And so I realized I needed structure. I have a lot of opportunities. I'm not doing my business partners any value by doing my part of the work half-ass, and I'm not a half-ass type of guy. And so I reluctantly hired an assistant, Ed's wife, Joan, and she is just crazy in terms of structuring.
This is important for my audience, right? Yeah. Because they're going from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And they're buying real estate, buying businesses, they're starting to scale. Hiring somebody as an assistant is a scary thing, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Did you hire her because she had experience? Or did you just get gosh damn lucky because she was already good? Maybe because she was built to be that person.
She was built to be that person.
Okay,
yeah. Cool. And I got very lucky in the hiring process. Like if someone's like, hey, how do I hire a Joan? I could tell them today, right? She's type A, tightly wound, and lives by spreadsheets. And Ed will tell you, like when they had their beautiful daughter, Jazzy, who's now, she 10 or 11? 10. Joan worked for me. She literally started working for me when she was 2 weeks pregnant. And when Jazzy was born, now I've had 2 kids, right? Me and my wife. And so Joan's like, all right, Jazzy's born. Here's a spreadsheet when she's going to nap, when she's going to eat, and you've got kids, right?
Yep.
And I was like, hey, Joan, I'm texting her. Hey, Joan, just so you know, babies don't listen to spreadsheets. I know you like to run everything by spreadsheets, but babies are just going to want to eat and poop and sleep whenever they want. And within 2 weeks of the baby being born, she's like, oh my God, you're right. The spreadsheet's gone to hell. But if I can look back now, type A, tightly wound, everything on spreadsheets. And that's how Joan rolls. She just is built to create structure. And so today I would interview someone and ask questions to kind of smoke out those traits. And if they have them, I'd bring them in and make them my assistant. But someone does not need to have an assistant to have structure. It's just time blocking. Like in other words, do all your calls.
It sounds so non-romantic when you say it that way, time blocking, but it is the magic.
It goes back to what you and I said. It's the basics, right?
Yeah.
It's like take all your calls at the same time of the day. Do all your emails at the same time of the day. Do all your social media posting at the same time of the day. Do all your meetings same time of the day. Like you and I are doing back-to-back podcasts here. Like that's what we're doing. And then after this, I've got another speaking thing that I'm doing on a Zoom. So basically all my speaking is happening here towards the end of the day. And all my calls happened earlier in the day. And my meetings were even before that. And when you time block, you're kind of in this sync where you're doing all similar things at the same time, which means you're better at it, efficient at it. If people just did that, they'd realize how much more time they actually have, because in the process of shifting gears is, I think, where we end up experiencing time theft. We lose a lot of time.
It's interesting. You talk about, I don't want to go down to the coaching route too far, but you hire a lot of coaches.
I do. I love being mentored.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I was a blue collar guy, so I thought I didn't.
What did you do?
I was a contractor for a long time.
No way.
So Zillow, OfferPad, and Open Door were my clients. I was Zillow's largest contractor.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I'm going to do it all myself.
Sure.
And then I learned at 30, I had a mentor that was an accidental mentor that came into my life and changed my whole life. And now I'm like, who can I pay?
Yeah.
Who can I pay to condense this time? Right.
Yeah.
So this year I'm spending probably $500,000 in mentoring and getting into the right rooms. But I paid a coach $30,000 a month for an hour-long call. Okay. This is about 5 years ago. And what our calls turned into were calendar structuring. It was so interesting. Like, as he goes, you're the only client I have right now that needs to be babysat like a little bitch. That you think your calendar is good. Oh my gosh, this guy changed my world. $360,000 of basically 90% of the conversation was around calendar time blocking. It was worth tens of millions of dollars to me. You seem to have figured that out. Now, the question I really want to jump into.
Yeah.
If I'm Joan, what do I know about you that nobody else knows?
Yeah. Joan knows that when I come in through the back office hallway door and not go up the elevator or the front staircase here, that I'm in a shit mood. So when she hears the beep, beep, beep on the passcode and then the clunk of the door opening in the back, and then I go right into my office because that back door goes right into my office upstairs, I have a feeling she sends out a mass email to the people around who would want to come into my office and talk to me, and she tells them, lay off, back off. He's overwhelmed, he's stressed, and I still have those days.
What are some things that she wishes you would do better that she's told you about 100 times? Like, Bedros, you need to not do this.
Yes.
Hey, you need to do this more. Are there things that are like on her pet peeve list that you continually do?
She's so good at just rolling with the punches that I throw, but one thing that I know for a fact, and she never has told me this, I just know that she would wish for me to do this better, is she'll find out about events that I'm hosting through my social media.
Yeah.
I'll literally do like a post like, hey, I'm going to host an event.
Guilty.
Yeah, this day, this time, because I'll look at my schedule and I'll see like 6 months from now or 4 months from now, I have a day open on a Saturday, and I'm going to be like,
guilty.
And then
Dude,
she'll
I
be
do
like,
the same thing.
Right? Yeah. And I think that's also how we're wired, though.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this personality assessment thing called Taking Flight?
No.
So it's the DISC assessment. You've heard of the DISC assessment?
Of course, yeah.
And so Taking Flight just took the DISC letters and put birds to it. So you're an eagle. There's eagles, doves, parrots, and owls. Eagles are the hard-charging, visionary entrepreneurs. Pretty self-explanatory. The parrots would be your happy-go-lucky sales guys who are just like kind of charismatic people in your organization. Your owls are your bookkeepers and your accountants. They want to count the beans and slow down pace. You're going too fast, and you and I typically have beef with the owls in our organizations. And then the doves, which is Joan, the doves are the supporters.
Yeah.
They just, hey, I want to create better structure for you, better organization, so you can do all the crazy shit you want to do better. Right? Because it overwhelms her when there's not order and structure.
Right.
And so Joan would love if I would, one, tell her, hey, Joan, on this day at this city, we're going to have a live event, because then she'll see the post and then she'll be like, okay, do you want an auditorium? Do you want a ballroom? Do you want to do it at a theater in Nashville? Are you going to have guest speakers, or is it going to be all you? Is it 1 day or 3 days? Are we doing lunch and dinner and breakfast? And are we having, and so for some reason, I won't do it, because
I'm gonna guess
why.
I'm gonna guess why you wouldn't do it, because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I see there's a day, and I post on Instagram stories,
Yeah.
or I'll be on a Zoom with my community, 1,000 people,
Yeah.
and I'll go, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this, and then they reach out to Molly, who's my Joan, or Jade, who's one of my Joans, and Joan will go, or Jade will go, all right, what are we doing? Tell me, Phil.
Yep.
Send me a voice memo. I think what it is when we were coming up with the grit and the grind, we knew we had to shoot first and then aim later.
Yeah.
And you just get used to that. The other thing is, if you start telling everybody about your plans, what do they start doing? Well, what if we do it this way? And what if we do it this way? And what if we do it this way?
The good idea fairy comes out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's one of the things?
Yeah. Now, as you say it, I feel that's one of the things. And I feel the other thing might be that, this might sound a little woo-woo, but I feel like when we are struck by inspiration, we are called by God to act on it as quickly as possible. And if I'm driving or working out or in the shower and I'm struck by, now this doesn't mean I'm impulsive, but when I know the difference between inspiration and impulse. When I'm struck by inspiration, like, holy shit, I'm going to act on it right away, because I know the caption that I write or the video that I make, I will capture that passion in that moment. If I'm struck by inspiration and then 3 days later I post about it after talking to Joan and the whole party planning committee,
It's not the same.
it's not the same, right? It's the example that I give on stage where I say there's having sex and there's fun, right? And I think I can stop right there. But if you want, I could also go a little deeper. Having sex, it's like, oh, a little cramp. Let's change positions. Having sex, oh, it's a little too hot. Let's stop for a second. Let me turn on the air conditioner. When you're f***ing, you don't mind if you get a hamstring tear. You don't mind if you have a bald spot because she just pulled on your hair so fucking hard. In my case, it'd be my back hair, not my head hair. And bro, you don't mind if the house catches fucking fire because you're creating alchemy. But sex is more robotic.
Right.
And so I want to fuck my audience and not just have sex with them. Do you understand? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that 100%.
I guess for the women listening, I want to make love and not just have sex.
There you go. Okay, so Andrew, 19-year-old.
Yes.
Obviously, you're getting him into jiu-jitsu.
My stud. Yes.
Right, your badass son. Couple of questions about this. One, are you fearful as a father currently with AI, robotics, and all the things that are coming up going, what the hell is my son going to be doing in 20 or 30 years? Are you fearful of that at all?
No.
Okay. Number two, what are you doing or what have you done in the last while? I know you're a great coach. A lot of my members in my community have all hired you. They love you. I know you're good at what you do. So I imagine it goes into being a father as well.
Very intentional.
What are things that you've been doing intentionally with your son to prepare him for the world?
Yeah. So both with my son, who's 19, and my daughter, who's 17, early on, I started to brainwash them. I started to brainwash them and telling them that, hey, when you guys grow up, if you want to go to college, you can. If you want to be an entrepreneur and have your own schedule and manage your own life and have a Marlon. Marlon is this wonderful woman who's been working for us for over 10 years now. She's our house manager, housekeeper. She's everything. She's like everything. And so when my kids would leave their clothes on the nightstand and then Marlon would wash it and fold it and iron it and put it away, I go, if you guys want a Marlin, having a 9-to-5 job is not going to get you there. If you like having Marlin, if you like having Hugo's our driver, takes us to the airport when we go to our annual vacations and stuff. If you like having Hugo around, you're going to need to also be adding more value to the world. So I brainwashed him that entrepreneurism and adding value to the world that's proportionate to the amount of money you want to make is very important if you want to continue the lifestyle that you have under mom and dad's roof. Number two, I want you guys to work in food service when you're in high school, because when you do, and I don't know have you ever worked food service? Looks like you have. Yes.
5 different times.
My man. I'm telling you, that makes the best entrepreneurs and salespeople, because when you're dealing with hungry, angry people, like you realize like this person's become a human animal. I'm dealing with a real life cave person.
Yeah.
And like they're hungry, they're snarling, they want their food, they want it now, and they think I'm the one cooking it, even though I'm just the server or the busboy. And so both of them, I wanted to get into food service because I knew that they'd learn how to de-escalate problems and have charisma and be able to get a tip. And then I told them that no matter what you guys do, Daddy's going to teach you how to have charisma, the gift of gab, and the ability to sell and convert. And so Chloe wants a dog. Hey, baby, I'm going to teach you how to make a PowerPoint and a pitch deck, and you're going to pitch us. At 9 years old.
She does a webinar for her dad.
Yeah, she did. She came here and did a webinar for mom and dad. And Ed, do you remember that small dog we had with the big floppy ears? $4,000 to purchase from Iowa. The lady who
she closed you, bro.
Closed us, bro. So the dog's $4,000 plus first class travel for the dog and the lady. Obviously, the dog didn't get a ticket, but the lady was sitting in first class. Plus whatever shots. $6,000 later, we got rid of the dog within 5 months because it just kept shitting everywhere. And it wasn't like it was a puppy. It was like a full grown, like a 1 or 2 year old dog. Yeah. So anyway, same with Andrew. I taught him all those things. And then I said, from there, you go and do whatever you want. But I'm going to teach you guys how to create multiple income streams, how to sell and convert, how to get people to persuade people using thought and charisma and your gift of gab. And so today, Andrew has a 6-figure net worth. And
as a 19-year-old.
As a 19-year-old. And all we did was take his $30,000, was it John Hancock College Fund? Because he decided, hey, guys, at 16, he decided, I'm not going to college. I'm taking dad's route. Cool, son. You're going to be an entrepreneur. 24/7, 365. That's your schedule now, right? And so he took that and he started growing it by making investments. He's selling stuff on eBay and Facebook Marketplace right now, all while doing 6 to 8 hours a day of producing his music. And because he wants to go into the music industry, music production. And he's so amazing at it. But he's given himself the lifestyle where he could produce music. And because dad is connected, I was like, son, when you're ready for those connections, when you feel your gift is at that point, I'll help open doors. And he's like, thanks, Dad. I'm not ready yet, but I'll let you know. So he's not just taking advantage of
That's
my
amazing
connections.
that he's that self-aware, though.
Yeah. He's an old soul. Chloe, on the other hand, she's like, hey, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to go to university. And this, I want the whole experience. Cool, baby. Mommy and Daddy got you.
What do you say to somebody that maybe is an immigrant, they're broke, they're stuck, they look at you and they say, well, it's easy for you, Bedros. Like,
Sure.
It's easy for you. You have all these things. You have this incredible office. You have this incredible team. You have a Joan, bro. You have all these incredible things. What do you say to somebody that's just starting out? Maybe they do have a 9-to-5 job. They just immigrated here to the United States.
Yeah.
How do they get unstuck? How do they start creating forward momentum towards their dreams?
That's a beautiful question, Pace. And I have to tell your audience that I am you. Like at 6 years old, my family and I, my parents and I, and my older brother, older sister, came to the United States from Armenia. English is a second language for me. I didn't understand the culture. I didn't understand the people. I didn't understand the language. We lived in Section 8 housing. My dad called me the breadwinner in Armenian in the family because being 6 years old, it was easiest to lift me up into those big dumpsters that are behind the grocery stores where they throw away food that's expired but hasn't gone bad yet, right?
Breadwinner.
Yeah, so I was the breadwinner because I'd pull out bread and hey, is this good, Dad? Yeah, it's good. Mom could pick off the mold and she'll fry it up and we'll eat it. Like he would, okay, Dad, here it comes, and milk and cheese and lettuce. And the lettuce was nasty. He goes, no, bring it out. He'd peel all the leaves off and underneath would be a tiny little fresh lettuce. So just because the leaves on the top are bad doesn't mean the core of the lettuce is bad. You just find enough fucked up lettuces and you can have a salad with the core. Anyway, all that to say, yeah, isn't that funny? Like I should make like a poor man's recipe book. But all that to say that I'm an immigrant to this country. I grew up thinking that I'm destined to be poor and broke, and there's a difference there. Poor is a mindset, like a poverty mindset. Broke is I've got no money and I don't know how to get money. I grew up poor and broke. But like you, I met an accidental mentor, and his name was Jim Franco. Jim Franco, because I became a personal trainer.
East Coast guy, right?
Yes. Yeah, he was from New Jersey, and he came out to Southern California in the 80s. So in 1980, when I came here, 2 years later, he came from New Jersey to here, Buena Park, California, and our paths crossed because he wanted to start an automotive software business out here. And our paths cross when he's 64 and I'm 24. And in fact, we just celebrated his 82nd birthday this past April. And
he's still around.
He's still around. He's still
pushing?
Bro, not only is he pushing, he's still working by choice. But he texts me and he goes, "Pete, you're not going to believe this." I go, "What, Jim?" He goes, "I'm going through a divorce." I go, "Your fourth divorce?" And he goes, "Peggy can't keep up with me." And I was like, "Jim, nobody can keep up with you." Within the first 6 months of meeting Jim Franco, because I was a personal trainer in my early 20s, he was a member of the LA Fitness there, and he walks up to me, he goes, "Hey, you're in good shape. I want to get personal training from you." And so I go, "Great. How many times a week do you work out?" He said, 3. I said, "Okay, do you want to work out for 6 months or 12 months? He said, 6 months. And I said, "Great," because that was the programs available. And so the gym, of course, gets the money. I get $12.50 an hour, plus I got like $200 commission. What I realized is I had a mentor 3 times a week when I'm training him, right?
How long did that take you to realize?
He helped me realize that, actually, because I was stupid.
Was it like day one, or was it like month 3?
Probably a few months in, dude, because I was complaining to him. One day I showed up.
Shit, you were complaining. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I was that complaining.
This is where you were.
Yeah, this is
mentally.
Yeah, and so your audience should know, like this, like I was a wage worker. I'm an immigrant to this country. English is a second language. Lived in Section 8 housing, and here I am, a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. Because who the could afford $800 to $1,200 a month in personal training services back in 2001, 2002, right? This is when I was training him, and I share this with you, bro, because one day I showed up really tired to his personal training session. And he goes, "What's the matter?" I go, "Well, I'm also a bouncer." And so I go to sleep at 3 a.m, and then I wake up early in the morning to come and train my clients. And then, by the time it's 2 o'clock, you come in, because he would leave work he works from 8 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon. And then he would always come in smelling like weed. Yeah. I was like, "Hey, Jim, do you smoke weed?" He goes, "Yeah, it takes the edge off." I was like, I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, and the workouts go better with you." I was like, "Okay, cool, man." Just Renaissance man through and through. Love the man. And so he snapped at me. He goes, I go, "If I had enough personal training clients, I wouldn't have to work as a bouncer at a bar in the evenings." He goes, "You know what? It's your problem. You're an order taker." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're just like a waitress." He didn't even say a waiter. He said, he's a little rough around the edges. He goes, "You're just like a waitress at a restaurant. People go in hungry, they take an order." He goes, I walked up to you and said, I want personal training. And I said, I want to do it 3 times a week for 6 months. And you just filled out the paperwork. You're an order taker. The day you start selling and closing is a day you can quit your job and make more money. I was like, holy fuck. And then I, like an idiot, I was like, well, I don't know how to close. He goes, I can see that. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring you 3 books. He brought me a book from Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and Tom Hopkins.
Damn.
The first 2 books, I was like, looked at them. I'm like, oh, okay, they're sales books. The other one, Tom Hopkins, it was like how to sell real estate, right? And like an idiot, I was so stubborn, bro. I look at him, I'm like, Jim, this is a real estate book. I'm a personal trainer. He goes, every time you read the word real estate, in your head, replace it with fitness. I was like, okay. And he said it with that kind of condescending tone. And at that point, I realized this guy's going to mentor me.
It seemed like you and I had the same situation at 30. Mine was a little bit later.
Yeah.
And I had a lady come to me. I was her contractor. And I was on my 3rd house with her. Mm-hmm. So I had renovated 2 houses prior. She calls me up, hey, meet me at the house, this 3rd house, 30 minutes early. I want to talk to you. I'm like, oh, shit. Did one of my guys break a microwave or like what happened, you know? And anyway, she pulls me out of my truck, like quite literally pulls me out of my truck, manhandles me, tells me to sit on the back, you know, of my truck. And she says, you are a simple Google search away from being replaced. You think you own your business? You don't own your business. I own your business. If I don't buy a house, you don't have a job.
Wow.
You have a job. You have a glorified job. You don't own shit. I own the house. Therefore, I own you. And I needed that.
Yeah.
Nobody in my life was willing to beat me up that way. This guy beat you up.
Yeah. And we need that. And to some degree now I look back and, you know, I say he was my rich dad and my dad was my poor dad. And I love my dad to pieces. He's still alive. He's 91. But the reality is my dad was one of those like, hey, I brought you to America. No, now go get a good job, be a mechanic or a smog technician. And I was like, wait, what? He goes, well, you like cars. So be a mechanic or a smog technician. I'm like, I like cars. I want to drive them, not change oils on them or stick a probe in the tailpipe, right? He's like, well, it's a good, people are going to have cars forever. It's a good, reliable job. And so he was just a small thinker. But when
he was more about safety.
Yeah. I mean, he comes from a communist background. He was raised in communism. To him, it's like, dude, you got freedom now here. You could get whatever job you want. People aren't just going to tell you what job to go get. So to him, that was a big leg up that I had, right? Whereas Jim Franco was like, you know, you ever thought of opening up your own personal training studio? And I was like, I could. He goes, well, now that you've been reading those books and I taught you how to sell, I got to the point in that same LA Fitness in La Habra, California, where the only person I was training was Jim Franco, because he's like, you were always going to train me. Each time I'd put him with another trainer, he'd raise holy hell with the gym and with me. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just train you forever, right? And so but I got to the point where all I was doing was selling personal training memberships, packages, 48, 96, 144, 192 sessions. And that was once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. And if you do the math, you're like, well, that's not 52 weeks. No, it's not. We looked at a year as 48.
Because of
weeks.
Holidays?
Yeah, at 48 weeks. And so that's why I still remember the whole sales presentation. But I was selling like a madman, and I convinced
for LA Fitness.
For LA Fitness, and I convinced them to give me 10% commission. So 10% commission on a $3,800 deal, which is twice a week for 48 weeks. You know, 10% commission here, 10% commission there. I was having some days where I was selling $27,000 in personal training sales, right? Because I had back-to-back appointments.
Bro, you're making $2,700 in a day 25 years ago?
Yeah.
That's like, are you kidding me?
I started hitting 6 figures and in commission, and I'm just passing them along to all the different trainers, right? Hey, you're going to love this trainer. You're going to love this trainer. You're going to love this trainer. And I'm making commission. And Jim Franco's like, hey, because I'm still training Jim 3 times a week. He's like, you ever thought about opening up your own personal training studio? I was like, oh, I can't do that. I was constantly showing up with like I can't and I don't know how, and this is for real estate agents. Not.
You think that's a product of your past and your environment?
I think so, man. My belief systems were that I can't, I'm not capable, I'm not white collar, I wasn't born here. I had all these reasons why I wasn't able to, even though he constantly showed me that if you read these books and if I teach you how to overcome objections and add value and have charisma, then you'll be able to sell. And I would see the proof, but then I go, oh, that's all I can do now. I can't do more. And so I had a limiting belief system, I imagine.
This guy has made you hundreds of millions of dollars.
Till this day, his grandkids follow me and will show him videos of me where I still talk about him like this.
Wow.
And he doesn't text. He just calls me. And whenever I see Jim Franco, it's the only call I pick up, him and my wife. I'll pick up and, hey, Jim. He goes, yeah. Jake showed me the video, and I wanted to let you know that was a great way that you talked about me. I really appreciate that. I'm like, all right. And that's when he was like, hey, Peggy and I are divorcing.
Dude, I had this similar experience. So Bethany is the lady that came into my life. And then 12 years later, I was able to have, my big event. Everybody in my community knows her, but she has no social media. She has nothing. Very similar to Jim.
Yeah.
And so last year, I brought her up on stage at my big event, 4,000 people, and I unveiled her, and everybody lost their freaking mind.
That's beautiful.
Because she was the first domino in my lineage that changed my life, right? Same thing with Jim. Like, he was the domino that knocked Bedros over.
Yeah.
And Bedros goes and goes, takes over the whole entire world.
Not only that, you're going to appreciate this, being in real estate. I said, well, I'd like to open up a personal training studio, but I've never opened up a business. Like here, I'm making commission as a salesperson. The gym brings in new members, and then the pitch was, hey, you get one free personal training session with Bedros, the head of personal training, right? So they were almost like handing me fish. It was like fish in a bucket, right? And so my objection to Jim was that he goes, I'll tell you what, I'll loan you the money to open up a personal training studio. You pay me back with 8% interest, and then after you pay me back, I'm still your 50-50 business partner.
Number one question I get every day is, how do I get everything done? I have 9 companies, 600 employees. We have customers all over the globe. We're doing fix and flips. We're doing buy and holds, apartments, RV parks, all of those things. Everybody wonders, how did I scale? How did I get to a higher level? And the answer is that, go high level. I use a CRM that allows all of my customers to come into one database. And instead of me hiring more employees to go and do all the follow-up, Go High Level has systems and automations that does all of that for me. So not only can I have my employees focus on higher end tasks, money-making tasks, Go High Level avoids all of the extra payroll. When you're brand new, having Go High Level is like having 5 different employees doing all the work for you just for a monthly fee. Go to gohighlevel.com/pace to learn how I'm using it, not only in my lending business, but my wholesale business, my fix and flip business. Literally, Go High Level controls the entire back end of all 9 of my companies. Go to gohighlevel.com/pace to learn more.
Okay.
It's a good deal.
Was my answer.
Good deal for him.
Yeah, it was a good deal for it was a good deal for him.
He saw what you were capable of.
Yeah.
You probably didn't know that was the greatest deal for him.
I had no idea. And so, looking back today, like when I coach my clients.
I do those types of loans all the time, guys, by the way. Reach out to me if you need those types of loans.
I love that. But
after you pay me back, I own 50% of your business.
Isn't that something?
It's gangster, but it's also things that you and I do.
Right.
We spot an opportunity, we help somebody out, but we go, look, I want to be a part of this thing that you're building. Yeah. And he was in a position to take advantage of that situation, which was awesome.
And I don't once feel like he took advantage of me.
Who else was around to help you? Right. Nobody else was
He was the guy. He was the guy. You nailed it. That's exactly it.
He deserved 100% of what he got.
Today, when I tell people that story, they're like, oh my God, 8%, and then he's your business partner for 50%. I'm like, dude, you don't understand.
Find a bank that would do that.
There was no like YouTubes and podcasts and any of that stuff where you're going to learn all this stuff.
At the time, like flip phones were still like a marvel.
That's it.
Like you probably had the Motorola Razr or some shit.
Bingo. My only phone had a hinge.
Yeah.
Exactly. It had a hinge. And so to have a real life millionaire entrepreneur who's leading people, who's marketing and is doing these things, I was like, dude, I'm on board. And so, yes, he was my business partner in my first location with Premier Results, but the other 4 locations that I opened on my own with his blessing. And I was like, Jim, if you don't mind, that was kind of a shark deal you made me, because at this point I'm starting to get smarter. I go, I'm going to open up the next 4 on my own. He's like, go for it, kid. And so had Jim not taught me how to grow those businesses, I ended up selling all 5 of those locations, now that my NDA has long been expired, to Crunch Fitness. When back in the day, Crunch Fitness was coming through Southern California, they were buying up clusters of high-end personal training studios, because before they try to compete with, now they're like more competing with Planet Fitness, the low price stuff. Back then they were trying to be like for the affluent. Bro, they bought out my clientele, all my receivables, all my contracts, right? And that was my first sale at the age of like 28.
Wow, that first exit. Having an exit at 28.
And to have a mentor who was going to guide me through on that was huge. Thank God he had equity. It's funny, right? Because like, oh, that was a shark deal. But if he didn't have equity in one of the deals,
you would have been steamrolled.
Yes.
Crunch would have came in and worked out a deal with you that made you feel like you got a great deal.
Yeah. And I like to think that Jim would have still helped me. But you know what? He had more of an interest in helping me.
Vested interest.
Yes, exactly. And so, do you know who Cody Hoffnine is?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Cody Hoffnine.
Okay. I had a feeling you would be.
Yeah.
The whole Mormon connection.
Yeah, more magic underwear gang.
Yeah. Not so much the real estate connection, but the Mormon connection. I love Cody as much as I love you. And Cody was out here just this past Saturday. I was running an event. And I said, Cody, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you to speak to these group of guys for about 20 minutes. And his lesson was two things. God is in the details, and then he will put people into your life at the right moment. And I realized that I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I had so many of those God is in the details moment where, Jim, as I'm working multiple jobs, what I didn't tell you is I was a busboy at Disneyland, and I was a bouncer at a gay bar, and I was a personal trainer at LA Fitness. And so, dude, Jim Franco was a gift to me. Like, he was someone that like had belief in me when I didn't have belief in myself. God put the right people into my life as I needed them. And he was putting, God is in the details, because it was maybe months before I was going to quit LA Fitness that Jim Franco came in, and I was like, ooh, great. I got a client that I was able to close, get a little taste of commission.
Interesting that your mindset at the time was, I'm grateful that I have a client.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your seasoned brain now is like, no, that was the most golden opportunity on the planet that made you multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And what's also cool about Jim is that he gave you a gift that I'm sure you're aware of it after I say it, but the gift I think he gave you was the gift of vision of, he saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself.
Yeah.
Which now is freaking full circle.
Yeah.
You have people in your clientele, people I know that are students of yours, have hired you to be their mentor. You see versions of them that they haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And that came, a big part of that came from Jim believing in you.
Bro, not only that, I will tell you how God is in the details in a way that's even closer. So Jim Franco mentored me, right? He saw something in me and he mentored me. I mentored a young man named Leighton. Leighton is an African-American young man. He works here in HQ with us. He's 29 years old, married to a beautiful girl, Betsy, and has 3 kids. And I met Leighton when he was 9 years old. So I've known him for 20 years. I met him when he was 9 years old because his mom was a personal training client of mine, and she would bring him to the outdoor boot camp that I would run. And her name is Toy. I would say, Toy, why are you bringing your son so early in the morning? Well, his dad is in prison. And so I need him to be ready to go to school, because after boot camp, because she's a nurse, she works the swing shift. She comes home, changes out of her nurse clothes, wakes him up, feeds him, brings him to the park for boot camp. After boot camp, takes him right to school. And so I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know that. Well, do you mind if I befriend him? Do you mind if I? So when they would come, the first 10 or 15 minutes while the ladies are warming up, I ran a women's boot camp here in Butterfield Ranch Park. I would just hang out with Leighton. I've mentored that young man, and today he sells for me and makes an obscene amount of money, and he's got a beautiful family. When Andrew was growing up, and Leighton got into skating, he became a professional skater for a period of time and was sponsored and everything. And when Andrew, my son, was growing up, Andrew wanted to learn how to skate. I was like, dude, Leighton can teach you. Hey, Leighton, could I pay you to teach Andrew? He's like, your money's no good with me. Like, you're like my dad. So I was Leighton's rich dad. He still calls me his rich dad. He's the guy, if you ever watch the Q&As on YouTube on Sundays that we drop, he's the guy across the desk from me. And so Leighton then mentors Andrew, my son, and now teaches. And then, of course, remember I told you I did the MMA challenge?
Yeah.
As one of my 6-week challenges. The guy that taught me this, bro, God is in the details, I'm telling you, Pace. The guy that I did this with, this MMA challenge with, Aaron Weatherspoon, African-American man, young man at the time, now probably in his 40s. And he was the welterweight champion for King of the Cage before King of the Cage went out of business. And I knew that Leighton needed an African-American male influence in his life. I could be the male influence, but he needed an African-American male influence.
Somebody who looks like him.
Yeah, someone who looks like him.
Yeah.
So and Toy told me that he got in a fight in school, and that, like, he didn't know exactly when to stop, and he ended up getting evicted or kicked out of school, whatever they call that, suspended.
Expelled.
Yeah, expelled. So I reached out to Aaron. I was like, hey, Aaron, can you teach this young man how to fight? Because if you teach him how to fight, he'll also learn the discipline that comes with fighting and the respect and the humility. So Aaron teaches him how to fight. So now he's a great skater and a fighter in terms of boxing. Well, my son Andrew wants to skate. So while Andrew's learning how to skate from Leighton, Leighton starts telling him about boxing. Andrew takes interest in boxing. And now Andrew's still, till this day, learning from Leighton. They've become best friends now. They're like brothers, and they become best friends. They're 10 years apart. And so 2 years ago, Leighton texted me. He's like, dude, you're not going to believe this? Betsy is pregnant with a boy. So he's got 2 daughters, and he's pregnant with the boy, right? Young Apollo. I'm getting goosebumps. So when Apollo was born, Leighton texts me and Andrew, Apollo's born. Oh my God, I'm a dad. I'm a boy dad. I would happen to be home. Andrew comes running down from his room. Dad, dad, dad. Just like Jim Franco mentored you, you mentored Leighton. Leighton mentored me. I get to mentor Apollo as he gets older.
That's so cool.
Tell me God's not in the details, bro.
God's in the details.
Like it.
What's interesting too, that
It's
a lot
nuts.
of people don't recognize is like money's great. It's amazing. It gives you the freedom. And it's also just the measurement of the hard work and the value you've put into the marketplace. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you are living your purpose. And here's what I mean by this. When you as a man can provide an environment for other men to be confident, get married, and have more children. This dude had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Tell me 1, 2, or not all 3 of those kids came from the confidence they had that he got from you mentoring him.
Yeah.
You literally helped another man go and grow an empire.
Dude, it's such a blessing. And what's really great is to see the downstream effect. So then you think about the impact that Apollo's going to have, right? Long after I'm gone and everyone's gone, and then whoever Apollo helps, and like that downstream effect will continue on.
That's legacy, bro.
And to me, that's such a good feeling. Like all the money in the world is great because I love living a great lifestyle. And people tell me this, like, oh, I'm having a camping trip. You should go camping with me. I'm like, my first 6 years in America was camping, man. I lived in Section 8 housing. We had no water. We had no electricity most of the time. We had no power. Like, I don't need to go camping. Like, I like 5-star everything. I like private everything. I like first class and private jets and all that shit. Not because I'm fancy, but because I've lived a really shitty life growing up young, and I want to experience an awesome life. And so money is really great, but the thing even greater than money is this like legacy and impact you get to leave. And I think that is kind of no one's going to be like, oh, Bedros made this many hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars before he died. But they might go, he mentored this kid who was mentored by that kid, who was mentored by that kid. And that downstream effect lives forever.
It's huge, man. The confidence you gave to this guy to go and build a family. And here he is excited about being a boy dad.
Yeah.
If he didn't have the income source, he didn't have the confidence in where that income source was coming from. Like think about you being a rock in your own business, him having the confidence to go to his wife and go, I think we're ready to have a second child or a third child.
Third child, yeah.
He goes, as a third child, he finally becomes a boy dad. And becoming a boy dad is a magical thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I mean, I am also a girl dad. It's amazing. They're like my little girlfriends, but having a son that loves a truck and wants to do this and bang things against the wall, it's like, it's a part of your life you're missing if you don't have it. You gave that to a dude, which is awesome. Yeah. What would you say to somebody in the audience that's afraid of hiring a mentor? Like, oh, that's some bullshit. That's a scam thing. Hiring a mentor, spending money on coaching.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, like if you want to be somewhere and you know that someone's already there, you might want to pay them, and what you're paying them is to time collapse, or what did you call it? You call it condensing time or something to that effect.
Time stacking.
Time stacking, right? And the whole idea there is if I could pay you to avoid the mistakes that you've made while getting to where you are, if I could pay you to give me access and connection to your network, if I could pay you to give me the scripts and show me the way, I'm going to get to your destination faster, with more profitability, with less bumps and bruises and scars. That to me is a positive return on investment every time. Now, where you see, and I'll call out a spade, there's a lot of shitty mentors out there, and I know you see them as well, who will flash and flex and make promises, like they'll promise a unicorn and deliver a donkey at best.
Right.
And that is not the fault of those scammy mentors. It is the fault of the people that did not do their due diligence and say, hey, before I hire you, Pace, can you show me 3 or 4 people? Can I talk to 3 or 4 people in your network that you've mentored and helped just like me? Like when someone asks me that, like, you know, Gabrielle Lyon?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gabrielle Lyon was a coaching client of mine. When she was like, hey, Bedros, you know, you come well recommended, but can you show me another doctor that you've helped? I'm like, hey, here's Dr. Doug Lucas. Here's Dr. Amy Shaw, who, by the way, happens to live in Paradise Valley right there in Scottsdale. And she got on the phone with them and she saw, she's like, all right, here's your $100,000. Help me out as well with my book launch, right? And so if you can have social proof as a mentor and you could demonstrate social proof and you can connect people who are going to be your future customers with those people that you've helped, you're going to win. If you're going to hire someone because they are tatted up, and I'm tatted up, so don't hold that against me, or they have gold chains, or they're leasing a Lamborghini, or they're like right here at fucking Chino Airport, bro, you can go and do a photo shoot in a private jet.
I've seen that.
Right, like 4 miles away from here. You know what I mean? And so And so if you're not doing your due diligence on someone and checking out if they have people that they've actually helped like you, then you probably deserve to lose their money. But it's not the mentor's fault. It's your fault. You get a good mentor, and as long as you're willing to take action, they will help time collapse and give you faster results than you ever could get on your own.
Is there a point in your life where you felt you made some bad decisions that held you back 2, 3, 4, 5 years because you were hard-headed?
Yes. Yeah.
Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah. So do you ever watch the Larry David show, Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Great show.
Okay. So there was I think Larry opened up a Spite store, a coffee shop, right? I made a bad decision and I created a piece of software, well, pretty intricate software for the fitness industry where I first started off, because there was a software company that didn't do exactly what I wanted them to do and didn't make me feel as special as I wanted to feel. I was young, egotistical, and stupid. I was an arrogant little prick.
You thought they should bend to your will and look at me. I've got all these clients. I've got 5 gyms. Yeah. How dare you not add this feature to your software?
Exactly. So I created a software that cost me tens of thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands, just tens of thousands.
But at the time,
it was the
thousands
equivalent.
Of dollars is like millions of dollars to you today.
If I lost a few million today, it was the equivalent of that. The time, the effort, the bandwidth, the heartache, the problems it caused in my household when I was like, hey, we have to refinance the house to pay the programmers in India, because if you know anything about software, they always say it's going to cost this much and it's going to take this long.
They're worse than contractors.
Exactly. The only industry worse than contractors are software coders. Yes. It's like costs 12 times as much and takes 13 times longer than they. And so that was one of many bad decisions that I've made out of spite. And I realized it was also a great lesson that I'll never make again. One of the few things that humbled me in life, like the pandemic did. I didn't make any bad decisions during the pandemic. We actually made some great decisions, and we didn't take on any private equity or any outside capital like F45 or Orange Theory did, who are now failing and crumbling, while Fit Body Bootcamp, my franchise, is scaling big. But that spite business that I created, I had no business being in software at the time, and I had no desire to create that. It wasn't like a passion. I just was an egotistical prick, and I did it thinking like, I'm going to crush them.
When did you realize you should have quit? Like, what was the turning point where you just actually quit?
2.5 years and maybe like $40,000 in, dude. And then never mind the time that I spent. So what is the opportunity cost of that? Of like the deals that I did?
2 years?
Yeah, because at the time I was coaching gym owners on how to be successful like I was in my gyms, right? So how many deals that I turned down for coaching deals? And at the time I was charging like 10 grand for like 6 months of coaching. But that 10 grand is the equivalent of the 100 grand that I charge now. And so think of all the opportunity costs, the heartache I caused my family. And I think more us entrepreneurs need to talk about these things, because if all I show you are all the wins in my life, you're like, oh, he must have a rabbit's foot stuck up his ass.
No shit.
Believe you me, I don't.
F45, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I think it's a shit business.
It is a shit business.
Tell me why are they failing and why are you scaling?
All right. Well, even pre-pandemic, they were destined to fail, and here's why. When someone goes into a group training program, your main product is your coaches. The coaches on the floor running the group training program. I don't care if it's Pilates, yoga, or Fit Body Bootcamp, or some kind of F45 Orange Theory type group training. So once you have screens on the wall that are demonstrating the exercises and encouraging,
what do you need them for?
Then what do you need them for? And so it took away the human factor. People pay a gym because they want to be held accountable. Yes, they want results, but they also want to be accountable to a personal trainer or
because
coach.
People will lie to themselves, but they will very unlikely lie to another person.
Bingo. And if you've ever had a gym membership where you're just paying $29 a month, whether you show up or not, no one's calling you from the front desk and saying, hey, Pace, we haven't seen you for 2 months. Bro, you don't show up to a Fit Body Bootcamp or to any personal training studio anywhere. Like, your personal trainer's calling you.
That's really what you should be paying for.
Yeah, you're paying for the accountability, the support, and of course, the ability to lose the weight or get the muscles, right?
Or tap into a community of people that are doing the same thing.
Bingo. And so F45 started off with a broken business model because they were like, hey, we're going to basically just put motivators on the floor and clap and scream, but then the workouts are going to be delivered via the screens at the workstations. That was destined to fail. Then the kiss of death came when they took on a whole bunch of capital through Mark Wahlberg's company, and they tried to grow. When you try and grow a business model that is not sustainable, We try and grow quickly. For example, let's talk about real estate and construction, your world. If we're building a 1-story or 2-story house on a foundation that's 1 or 2 degrees tilted, ain't going to be a big deal. Now, take that same 1 degree tilted foundation and build a skyscraper, and thing's going to fall over like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right? And so when they were building in the beginning, they didn't see the flaw and they didn't understand the model. And the model was in group training, the coach is the product. They are the product, not a trainer. A trainer crosses their arms and counts to 10. A coach stands like a fighter and then opens up their hands and inspires and motivates you. And if you can't do squats, they'll modify your squats. While they're doing squats, you'll do goblet squats. While this guy's doing step ups, that person's doing box jumps. That's what a coach is. A coach remembers you by your first name and high fives you and says, Pace, how are you? Thanks for coming in. What is this? Workout number 3 or 4 for the week, and holds you accountable. That is what a coach does. The screens don't do that. I don't care how much heart rate you try and show.
Yeah, you probably get to a point as a client at F45 that you just go, why can't I just do this at home?
Yeah, exactly. And so when they started to scale a big model by taking on capital and they started to scale, they started to see their problems. Franchisees were starting to say like, hey, people are coming in and then they're leaving because they're not getting results. In our business, the coach is the product. And if people aren't getting results, then you're not going to retain them and get referrals. It goes results, retention, referrals. That is the fitness business, period. Results, retention, referrals. And so if you can't get people results, all the hype in the world will get a client in. But soon they're like, these screens aren't holding me accountable. I'm not getting the results I want. I don't know. They're not telling, no one's telling me how to eat right. Because 80, 90% of your results come from how you eat, right? And so they leave. And so they're not going to tell a friend about a business that they left, right? And so that's how they ended up failing. And then when the pandemic came, they, just like Orange Theory, were like, all right, let's shut our doors, 15 days. This will all be over, flatten the curve. Well, I'm a former communist. I come from a communist country. My dad raised me to not trust the government. So when the government said, we're going to flatten this thing in 15 days.
Oh, bullshit.
I was like, I did the Ronald Reagan thing. Trust but verify. I'm going to trust that that's what's going to happen, but I'm going to verify myself by telling my CEO, Bryce, up there. I was like, Bryce, create 30 days of done-for-you workouts so that if this goes beyond 15 days, all of our franchise locations are going to put their clients into private Facebook groups, and they're going to drop one done-for-you workout a day into the group.
So smart.
Franchisees are not going to stop charging their clients. We're not going to stop charging royalties to the franchisees.
Genius.
That's how we stayed on board or alive, whereas...
And the clients probably really appreciated that.
Bro, they needed to work out. They needed connection. As humans, we need connection, not isolation. Whereas F45 and Orange Theory were like, they told their franchisees, stop charging your clients and we're going to stop charging you. Well, I don't know about you, but rent still due and operations and all this shit and marketing costs. And so very soon, now F45 has cut 65% of their corporate headquarters workforce. The 65% that earned the most, that had the most tribal knowledge in the business, which means the employees that they have now are the newest employees who are underpaid and don't really understand the model. How are they going to lead the franchisees to success? And that's why you're seeing this massive erosion. And they've gone through 3 CEOs now, and they're still trying to figure their head out. And they can't. Once a franchise starts losing more than it's gaining, it's over. That's the kiss of death.
What's interesting is that your advantage is that you're a speedboat versus they're like a Titanic.
Yes.
Like for them to adapt and move, right? And I think people just starting out need to understand that they have a first mover's advantage, even though you might be ahead of everybody that's watching here today. They need to understand that you have first mover's advantage. You're nimble. You don't have employees. You don't have rent. You don't have this payroll. You don't have these things holding you back. Now is the best time for people to take advantage of what's going on in the economy. I tend to find myself, if I'm on X and I'm hanging out, like scrolling through, I'm like, oh shit, the world is falling apart.
Yeah.
The world is falling apart. As a business owner, are there things that you are watching, reading, educating yourself on, mentoring that you are participating in to keep yourself out of that bullshit?
What I'm really doing is doing the opposite. Instead of consuming more, I'm actually eliminating, because I think it was Dan Sullivan who said the number 1 and number 2 things that impact your success or lack of success are the thoughts that occupy your mind and the people that you surround yourself with. And I think that was one of the most greatest statements I've ever heard. And so it's about what information I can eliminate that's trying to access my conscious and subconscious mind and get me to live in a state of lack, fear, uncertainty, doubt, right? And so I've got a big social media following, big podcast, big YouTube channel, but I'm not on there social scrolling at all. All my notifications are off. If I post something, I post and walk away from it. I'm not fighting people in the comments, not doing any of that stuff. Do I follow friends? Yes, I follow you. I follow friends. And if I open up my shit to post something and I see your stuff, I'll like it. But I'm not doom scrolling. And today, recently, I heard something that the Gen Z generation is doing, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically doom scrolling in bed. They're in bed, not even getting out of bed, and they're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and rotting their brains. And that puts a lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt inside you. So for me, it's the thoughts that occupy my mind. And then I'm very particular about the people that I curate around me, right? And so,
So it's basically addition through subtraction.
Yeah, to me, that's the greatest value. Now, do I keep a pulse on the different industries that I'm in? Yeah, I'm co-owner of Fuel Hunt Apparel, so I keep track, like where's Origin making their apparel? Origin is Jocko's company, and, so Pete Roberts, who's Jocko's business partner, we did a collab with them. And we're like, all right, you guys are making your own stuff. By the way, if you guys can't make it fast enough, here's the manufacturers that we're buying from in the U.S. We collaborate, and they tell us
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, what's working best for them. Same with supplements. I started a supplement company 5 years ago, and our wellness shot took off. Great. Well, I reach out to my friends that have subscription programs on like Athletic Greens and et cetera. Hey, how's it working for you? What is the stick rate? What is the best offer that you're making? Is there a risk reversal that you're offering? And if so, are too many people taking advantage of it where your cost of lead client acquisition is too low? And so I'm reaching out to people, I'm curating the people that I reach out to, but there's not any news that I follow or read because odds are it's going to lead me down a rabbit hole of like fear and uncertainty.
Do you have a daily habit that you have as a non-negotiable?
Yeah. I got several. One of them is I send 3 gratitude text messages every single morning when I wake up to 3 random people in my life who have added value to my life that I'm grateful for. And the reason is I'm organically a pessimistic and person. Like I would always give Jim Franco the hardest time. Like, I don't know how to sell, and that says real estate. And what makes you think I can open up a personal training studio, bro? I barely graduated high school, and he was constantly like challenging me. And so I'm organically pessimistic, and I wake up very angry and irritable. It's just my default. So I've learned, because I'm very self-aware as well, I learned that if I can send out 3 gratitude text messages, that forces me. I don't wake up grateful in the mornings. I know I should, but I don't. And so if I force myself to like, hey, Pace, hope you're doing great. It was great seeing you yesterday. Thanks for coming out, man, blah, 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 blah. I love and appreciate you. Send. If I send 3 of those out to 3 random people in my life, sometime throughout the day, all 3 of these people are going to respond back and be like, hey, Bedros, thank you. I'm grateful for you and I appreciate you. And odds are, as an entrepreneur, I'm probably going to be eating some kind of shit sandwich. Am I right?
Yeah.
So no matter how well structured your day is, you time blocked, you structured, you got your Joan, you got your so-and-so, something goes wrong. And when it does, I like getting a response. It's the most selfish thing I do. I get a response back from one of the 3 people that I texted, and they're like, man,
it's like a little bolt of light.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for sending me that 4 hours ago. Oh, fuck, okay, someone showed me appreciation today. That's great, and I like that. And so that's a non-negotiable, and my morning workouts are non-negotiables. I will not work out with anyone in the morning. It's selfishly just me. Even my son and daughter. We work out together at night.
How long does it take?
My workout?
Yeah.
45 minutes. 45 minutes, and I'm done. And then at night, I'll work out with my son or my daughter or a whole group of us on Friday nights.
So you're working out twice a week or twice a day?
Twice a day. Let's not go down the whole overtraining thing. It's bullshit. It's a lie.
I mean, I don't know anything about overtraining. I'll train once a day. That's not my world. But Are you showering twice a day now?
I shower 3 times a day. I'm a clean freak.
What the hell?
Yeah. I sweat profusely, bro.
Like, where are you showering? Like, where does this happen?
Everywhere. Well, Ed knows my office. In my own private office upstairs, I got my own shower. In my private gym down the street, which you want to work out at today, you're more than welcome to. I got a beautiful shower. At home, I got showers everywhere. I love showering.
What do you have to say to Jocko and them about those main showers that only had 28-inch things where you had to either see the tip of your dick or your hairy ass?
Bro, can we tell your audience about this?
Hell yeah.
Like, listen. And here's why. I realize that when you hold a massive event, they held a 500 grown men event.
Fighting with each other all day long. Feeding them 4 times a day.
4 times a day. For 7 days, we were at a, what is it? The camp. We were at a kids camp.
It's in Maine, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 200 acre kids camp, right? And so Camp Laurel is what it's called. So the beds are tiny. And so that means you're like literally stretched. If you try and stretch out, you're leg pressing the footboard. And if you curl up in the fetal position, then you regress to a child. Either way, you're fucked. And then there's no showers in your cabin. There was 13 dudes in our cabin.
This goes from a guy that has 3 private showers everywhere he goes
to no shower in the cabin.
Private jets, private this, full-on bed, Tempur-Pedic, $7,000 mattress. Now you're in Maine.
Actually, you're not wrong about the mattress. It's called the Bayside, actually.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, and I sleep so
Yeah,
well.
now you can't even stretch out on a thing.
Yeah. And on top of that, I'm stuck with 13 other dudes, which I'm super grateful for them. They're all great dudes.
But they're loud as shit.
Loud as shit, bro. They got assigned concrete shoes or something. They're stomping around the fucking cabin all day. But so the shower cabins are like across the woods. So you take your soap and your towel and you go across the woods. And it's like, 6 showers, a thin bench, and then 6 more showers. And it's like a 32-inch entrance. Well, you were a contractor. It's an entrance 30. I estimated it was around 32 inches. But the shower curtain was only about 26, 28 inches wide, which means you've got about a couple inches of space on either end. So you're either going to have to position the shower curtain, or if you want to give the world a show, you just stand in the middle and shower, and they see a piece of your dick tip, and then they see a part of your hairy ass, in my case. And there was no way to get around it. It wasn't like I had the only shower that had a short shower curtain.
It was every shower.
All of them were fucked up because they're designed for little
Do you
kids.
think Jocko did this to you on purpose?
I don't think he did it to me on purpose. And I was very gracious on the podcast because I shared all of this in great detail on my podcast that it went out yesterday. And I told everyone they should all go to the Origin Jiu-Jitsu immersion camp next year. However, I may not be staying at a cabin when I go next year.
Yeah, you're going to have bring a private RV.
I actually already know where I'm going to be staying, and I will be there to do the immersion camp, but I will sleep in a very different destination because I don't want to be in a cabin.
Smart man. You worked hard to get to where you're at. Yeah. So 7 days on the road with your son, which is amazing. You're bonding with your son. You're away. I'm sure you're not checking your phone the whole day because you're fighting all day. You're eating, you're networking, you're doing the thing.
Yeah.
Who's holding down the Bedros fort?
Oh,
who are like your top 5 people? And what are their positions? Because somebody who's an aspiring business operator, right? Not operator. You're not an operator. You're a visionary. I'm a visionary. We have operators that run this. What people need to see is they want to know, okay, Bedros is showering 3 times a day. Bedros is training twice a day. Damn, okay, well, maybe I got to step up my game. Who is running behind the scenes? I need to see this so I can envision what success looks like.
Yeah. So for my experiential events and my personal brand and my coaching business, it's the great and powerful Joan Arca. She's the VP of my coaching brand. That does a few million a year. And then for Fit Body Bootcamp, that does over 120 million a year.
That's insane, dude.
Fit Body Bootcamp is run by my CEO, Bryce Henson, an awesome human being, great leader. He runs a team of about 70 people, some of them here.
Is the main thing to sell franchisees?
To sell franchisees and then to support franchisees.
Okay.
Yeah, to support them as
so
well.
Out of those 70 people, how many people are salespeople?
5.
No shit.
Yeah.
So you guys have that many people supporting your franchises?
Bro. Franchises have compliance and auditing.
Your FTDs and this.
Yeah, because you're overseen by the Federal Trade Commission. And then my supplement company, Truling, there's Jeff Rosenberg. Jeff is an amazing human being. He's the VP of that. And then for Fuel Hunt, it's Drew Beach. He's the founder and operator. I'm the visionary of the company for Fuel Hunt, the apparel company that I took equity in. So I sit in the visionary seat or the owner box seat, if you're familiar with EOS, which I know you are. The operators and then the teams below them do the work. I'll walk in and Joan will put on my calendar. This is how awesome Joan is. Like, I would not walk in and see someone brand new and be surprised by them because on my calendar, it says, this company, let's say Truling, got a new director of sales.
So you walk in prepared.
I walk in prepared. I know their name. I go to Truling. I open the door. Hey, you must be the new person. Bob Smith. Yes. Hey, good to meet you. I'm Bedros. Da-da-da. You're hardly ever going to see me here, but I'm just one call away. If you call Joan, she'll set up a workout, a lunch, or coffee with me anytime you want. Fair enough? Yeah, great. High five. Thank you for the hard work you're going to do. Jeff's going to be your leader. And so that's how beautiful and cool it is. Now, do we have problems? Of course we have problems. But by and large, because the structure and we have great leadership and great systems and great processes in place, for the most part, everything runs well. And I can go to a jiu-jitsu camp with my son for 7 days and I can shower 3 times a day and work out twice a day. But also I work my nuts off too. Like when I'm working, like it is focused, intense work. I don't stop and then go, oh, look, a notification. Let me just see what's going on social media. That ain't me. I'm locked in. And so I might work 6 full hours in a day, some in the morning, some in the afternoon. But those 6 full hours are probably the equivalent of maybe I'm not even kidding, 16 hours of average regular person work.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I've been following you for a long time, and like I said, you life stack. You do a lot of things simultaneously.
Yeah.
When did you have that epiphany of, I'm not a great operator, I need to have a team? Was there an age, or was there a mentor that told you that? Because I'm sure there was a point where you wore a lot more hats than you should have been.
I did. And because again, coming from the immigrant mindset,
you do everything yourself.
You do everything yourself. You're taught to be frugal and humble, and like, who are you to have an assistant? Who are you to
Why would you pay somebody to clean your clothes?
Yeah, exactly, right?
You lazy piece of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then God forbid the aunts and uncles find out.
Oh yeah, because then, look at Mr. Big Shot.
And your wife's not doing your laundry? No, I'd rather
Then
she
what
not
does
do
she
my
do?
laundry. I'd rather she go on dates with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd rather she like raise our beautiful kids. I don't want to outsource my kids to daycare, right? What they can call it Kumon or whatever they want to call it, some kids' academy. At the end of the day, it's a fucking daycare where some fat, sloppy chick is raising your fucking kid.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have the same attention to detail like your wife is. So anyways, all that to say that I'm very grateful for a team that is locked on to the mission, vision, and values that we have, and I couldn't do it without them. And then, of course, when Ed or any of the video guys are traveling with me, they're capturing the video, and I'm the one speaking, but they're the ones that edit it and send it to Leighton to post it and all this stuff. Like, there's so much behind the scenes that happen, and I used to be of the mindset that I could do it all. And when I realized,
how old were you?
Probably 37, 38 when I realized I need an assistant. It was after that panic attack, and then I realized I need to start bringing
So
in
up until
leaders.
that point, you were doing most everything yourself.
And I was a horrible manager of people too, by the way.
Most visionaries are.
Yeah, because like you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I imagine, like you, I could only lead eagles and high-performing people. So I could lead Ed, I could lead Joan, I could lead Jeff, I could lead Bryce, all my leaders. Everyone that they lead and manage,
you would steamroll them.
I would choke them out. And now that I know jiu-jitsu, I actually know how to choke them out and sweat on them profusely.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I've removed myself from all of that. It took me a while. It took some coaching. What about now? Are you still paying for coaching? Are you looking for places where you spend time and money to go get in front of the right people?
Yep. Right now, not only am I paying a black belt for coaching in jiu-jitsu because I want to time collapse my growth there, but I'm also paying a speaking coach, Joel Weldon, right? Because I want to be a better speaker. And so, like, he's really good at teaching you how to speak from the stage and how to pitch from the stage. And I want to continue to keep getting better at it. And so to me, I'll always be a student. If someone's got what I want, I don't want to earn it over time. A black belt, I will over time, right? But things that have to do with business and money, if I can find the shortcut, the ethical shortcut to get there by paying you and for you to open up your network and for you to teach me on how to underwrite a deal or get a deal or whatever, I'm going to do that all day long.
Somebody's watching this podcast as we're wrapping up. You've got I've been following you for a long time, big fan. I asked Dan to connect us a long time ago. I've asked other people to connect us, like, hey, put me in touch with Bedros. I'm a big fan of his, right? And somebody told me, they go, just watch his YouTube channel. I'm not going to connect you. And I was like, okay, that means I don't provide enough value quite yet. This was like 6 years ago.
Sure.
5 years ago, 4 years ago. If somebody's watching today and you could tell them to go watch one Bedros video, is there one that stands out in your mind on your YouTube channel that will get them the most traction, action, game plan that they can go and do something with?
Yes. I don't know the episode number, but I know the episode title, and it is 7 Things Men Do to Ruin Their Life. Every man, boy, male, transgender male needs to watch that, and they will transform their lives big time. 7 Things Men Do to Ruin Their Lives.
Bedros, you're the man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
One of the most common questions I get is, what title company do I use? What title company am I using in Arizona, Atlanta, California, Texas, whatever? The answer for many years was a different title company in every state, because not every state handles transactions the same way. Now, the answer is one title company. It's Creative Title and Escrow. Go to getcreativetitle.com/podcast. You can learn how they will do SubTo deals, seller finance deals, cash transactions, gator deals, double close, transactional lending, whatever, even novation agreements. There's really nothing that Creative Title and Escrow can't do. To learn how brand new investors are using Creative Title all the way up to the biggest players in the industry, head over to getcreativetitle.com/podcast.